Yo, what's up, everyone? Jim and I are about to do a series we're super excited for.
You dork.
Why am I a dork?
Look at your hat. Look at you. Just look at you.
What, you mean this custom upgrade? Wait, where's yours? Oh, no. That's what I thought. You ain't upgraded.
Go.
Jimmy, like this?
Just go.
See this, too?
Very well done, Brian. Nothing of not a professional.
So today we are going to be reviewing arguably the best horror game for the PlayStation and maybe ever. We're, of course, talking about Resident Evil 2.
A lot of people consider it the best in the series. Does it hold up today? We'll take a look.
It does. No spoilers. Right. Let's see.
Right, yeah. Please continue to watch now. Originally released to the PlayStation in 1998, this eventually got ported to Windows, the N64, the Dreamcast, the GameCube, and the Tiger Gamecom. Holy crap. It was developed and published by Capcom. It's the second game in the long-running series. Possibly the best in the whole series? Let's find out.
Jim, talk about the fact that it was considered Resident Evil 1.5 and then they got 2/3 through the game and decided to make it this way.
It was originally Resident Evil 1.5.
God damn it, don't interrupt. Jim, why don't you mention the fact that Resident Evil 2, one of the most unique things is that the zapping system was created because of Back to the Future 2 in different timelines.
It was created like Back to the Future 2 and had a zapping system with
God
different
damn it,
timelines.
give this game respect.
Brian, what do you want from me? You already said it.
I want better.
Should have gotten a new co-host a long time ago if you wanted that. Alright, the graphics. And wow, what an improvement over Resident Evil 1. I mean, don't get me wrong, we love the look of Resident Evil 1, but this just steps it up so much. You really do feel like you're in an actual city that's just going to hell in a handbasket. Everything's on fire. Everything's dirty and destroyed. There's dead bodies all over the place. And just the look of everything in general is just so much more refined. Everything has way more texture mapping to it, and it's just more impressive just in general. A lot of the boss fights are multi-tiered, where they'll have mutations halfway through, and it's just bloody and gory. You have CGI fully rendered cutscenes now instead of the, in-game graphics or the real-life video from the first one, and it just looks so damn good. They just put so much more time. You can tell more time and effort went into this, and it just really shows. The new enemy designs are just gross and gory, and even the lighting effects are a lot better. Everything overall has just been given such a level of polish, so we both gave it 9s. When it comes to beer, you really don't need any. When it comes to the sound, again, it was really a good job they did on this one. The voice acting, this is the easy one, the voice acting's just way better than it was in the first one. The first one's loved for being goofy, this actually has some effort put into it. The soundtrack's excellent in this. It has the same thing in one where you have the quiet areas and you'll have the ones with the background music, but where you have the background music, it actually it's better composed for the most part. And Raccoon City Police Department, that's like an iconic kind of tune. The sound effects in general, like the liquor, you'll hear that clicking sound from down the hall or from another room and you just know shit's about to go down for you. It's just overall the whole ambiance of everything, the echoing effects that you'll hear, the sound effects in general, it's just a better package. Maybe the voice acting's still a little on the goofy side, and maybe some areas could have had a little more sound to them, but you know what they're going for, so that's the only reason we gave it 9s instead of 10s. And when it comes to beer, I'll just maybe add 1 beer for that damn liquor. It still freaks me out when I hear the clicking.
The control. Well, we know the tank controls are not the most optimal for video games. However, Jim and I, we grew up playing this, and we might have a little bit of a bias going in here, but honestly, it never affected us. And if you're using the auto-aim, meaning you went to the Type-C control, then you know it's really not a problem. For some people who are really savvy and able to avoid most of the enemies, you'll know that you can run around everyone. I personally feel like the actual movement of your characters is a bit more fluid, especially moving backwards than it was in Resident Evil 1, and it just never really bothered me that much. I do acknowledge there are some limitations, especially since you already have limited camera angles working against you, and you might turn a corner and there's an enemy there. There's not a lot you can do, but it's something you can compensate with after a lot of gameplay. So, with that being said, we both gave it 7s. We think it's definitely above Resident Evil 1. And once again, it never bothered us. So when it comes to beer, I'm going to add 1 just for those folks out there that are going to be mad that we didn't score it lower. The gameplay. Holy shit. Well, right off the bat, once again, you have this survival horror game. At this time, you take the idea of Resident Evil 1, which was only in a mansion, and it was an isolated incident, and as Jim said, it's going on throughout Raccoon City. You get to see a lot more of the city, and you get to follow Leon Kennedy and Claire Redfield as they're trying to figure out what the hell is going on. All the standard survival horror motifs still exist. You have a lot of item inventory management, you have limited ammo, limited weapons, and you gotta be real stingy with your health depending on which level of difficulty you're playing. You're gonna go through a ton of different enemies like zombies, dogs, but now you got those goddamn lickers, you got a tyrant, which we'll get to a little bit more, and you just have these constantly mutating enemies like William Birkin, which are just a pain in the ass, but they look so damn good. On top of that, the most impressive thing from this game is the zapping system. This basically refers to the type of game style where if you go through with Claire, and it will be deemed Claire A, then when you play through as Leon, some of your decisions previously made affect how he plays through, and he'll have new puzzles, new enemies, and just less inventory to deal with. So you got to be really cognizant of what you're doing in the first gameplay, just because it will be reflected on your following gameplay. Most people are aware, but if you do go through and play as Claire first and then Leon, that's generally the easier way. And I will say, if you've never played through this game, you probably will screw yourself on that second gameplay because you'll take most of the items for yourself and you'll leave way too many enemies that'll be a real pain in the ass in the future. Either way, this game encompasses everything you love about survival horror. A really great atmosphere, some enemies that some of them you have to learn how to dodge or how to deal with, and like I said, that inventory management system is just, it can make things a lot more stressful than most other games at the time. When it comes to scores, I gave it a 10, Jim gave it a 9. I always say this is probably the best survival horror game on the PlayStation, even though my heart still goes with Resident Evil 1, but that's for more nostalgia. You're not going to find a better combo of action, horror, and just general stress than you will with Resident Evil 2. So when it comes to beers, I'm not even going to add any. I absolutely love this game.
When it comes to originality, the biggest thing to start off with is the zapping system that we talked about before, because you can really just get such different gameplay experiences depending on what character you start with. And it's not minor. Like, in the first Resident Evil, whether you were Chris or Jill, you'd have a few different parts. But in this one, it's almost like a full overhaul. Even the final bosses are different, just everything in general. The mazes are different. It's almost like a brand new game, so at the very least, you get 2 full stories to play through, which is awesome. The minor tweaks to control are a definite upgrade here, and besides that, it's still a Resident Evil game. They did obviously add a lot to it, but for me, I didn't feel like they did a crazy amount to add to it, but Brian thought they did a little more, so he gave it a 6 and I gave it a 4. When it comes to beer, I'll add 1 for that awesome zapping system.
The replayability. Well, once again, a lot of the points we gave this game was based on the zapping system, because right off the bat, you have 4 reasons to keep coming back and replaying this game. On top of that, add in the fact there are many secrets throughout the game, especially things like if you keep clicking on this desk 50 times, you can find a photo. It's a silly thing, but it's something that you're going to play through and probably learn. Or you can find a zombie Brad Vickers under some special conditions early on in the game. Put those things aside, you still have the 2 standalone minigames, the Fourth Survivor and the Tofu Survivor. Everyone knows about tofu. You play as a big-ass piece of tofu with just a knife, which is damn near impossible, and congratulations to anyone who was able to do that. But the Fourth Survivor, which more people knew, which allows you to play as Hunk, who's one of the special agents sent by an Umbrella to retrieve the G-Virus. That one I actually did play as. It's still hard, but it's a lot easier than goddamn tofu. These are all reasons to keep coming back and playing the game. Add on top of that, the ranking system, which Resident Evil is pretty damn well known for. If you beat the game in a certain amount of time, with a certain amount of saves, and you don't die, you can unlock an infinite ammo rocket launcher or submachine gun. So there's just many, many reasons to keep coming back and playing through this game. Not to mention just the fact that you could stop and try and look around the atmosphere a little more. chances are the first couple times you play, you're just going to be running for your life. So when it comes to scores, I gave it an 8 and Jim gave it a 7. When it comes to beer, you honestly don't need any. For a survival horror game to have this many reasons to come back, that's goddamn impressive. So overall, we absolutely adore this game. As you could tell from the review, this game did everything Resident Evil 1 did well and just made it a lot better. Better graphics, a lot newer enemies, the gameplay's arguably better, and that zapping system, what's really not to love? For me, it's the perfect horror experience, which is exactly why I gave it a 10.
Yeah, and especially just how replayable it is. Like, you just want to go back and try and experience it. And I love the fact that you get more or different variations of bosses when you go back and play it from a different starting character. And then, who doesn't love tofu, right? Tofu, Brian.
Jim, you know you never beat the game in enough time to get that.
I have never had tofu. Friends of mine did when I was younger, so.
Exactly. So, when we combined all of our scores together, this rounds out to an 8.5. I know it's going to disappoint some people, definitely disappointed me, but if you want anything to blame, blame Jim.
Probably. And look, if you're not a fan of tank controls, you're still probably going to be put off by this one, but it's just such a good horror experience in general and tells such a good story.
Yeah, of all the games I think of for PlayStation, or especially if you're a horror fan, the first 3 Resident Evils are a must, but if for some reason you're limiting yourself, my personal opinion, go Resident Evil 1, but Resident Evil 2, it is a better game. It's pretty undeniable.
Pretty much.
So, let us know what you guys think about this game below.
Yep, until next time, guys. Cheers.
Cheers. When it comes to beer, I had to choose one of my personal favorites. So, I'm going with the Founders Brewing Company Breakfast Stout. Coming in at 8.3%, this beer offers all the flavor and alcohol you could really want. And similar to this game, no one really debates the fact that this truly is one of the best beers in the world. So when you're waiting to open up doors or open up the chests throughout this amazing game, why don't you savor a few sips from this delicious American Imperial Stout? But remember to drink your beers and play your games responsibly. Cheers, guys. As always, guys, thanks for checking out this video, and if you enjoyed it, make sure you give us a thumbs up, leave some comments, or better yet, why not subscribe? Till next time, guys, cheers.